guys seeing any random stuff in my background? I've got like an exercise bike and a couch with a bunch of wires on either side, and it's not showing up in my preview, but I learned through unfortunate trial and error in other webcam situations over the last week that at times my preview is not what others see.
I think that was just when you were doing it on your phone.
Yeah.
You were on your phone, and everyone else on their PCs could see. Your face was like this, and it was very funny.
No, there was some, when I did actually the WCCO interview, the preview looked exactly like what you're seeing now, and then when I was actually in the Zoom room that they were doing it in, it was it appeared wider and had like the corner of my exercise bike and like basically I've created this desk setup in an area that I won't bore you with the details unless you want me to talk about it for amusement's sake on the podcast. But basically I've wedged a desk.
I am back. Dinner's in the oven. I'm hyped.
Oh, good. Well, no, we don't see any exercise bike. We see a picture that looks like it was drawn by, I'm guessing, one of your kids. I don't think that was yours, but maybe, you never know. Yeah. And no, we're all good to go. I started the recording a little bit early just to make sure we didn't cut anything out at the beginning, and I'm ready whenever you guys are. So
action. Let's
Alrighty.
go. I'm excited.
Welcome everybody to the Fragtalks podcast. This is a very exciting episode for me personally. I got 3 amazing people here with me. I got COO of ROKKR, Brett Diamond. I got Vice President of Marketing and Creative, Annie Scott Riley. And then I have the Director of Content, aka other known as Midnight, Ashley. How are you doing? How are all of you doing?
Spencer, thank you so much for having us. It's I love podcasts in general, so it's great that you do one, and I'm happy to be on with my coworkers.
Hey,
Yeah, good to be here, Spencer.
I've been talking with you guys for it's coming up to almost a year from the first time I originally reached out to hopefully get a job with you guys, to seeing you guys slowly release what Minnesota's North Call of Duty team was going to be called. And it's exciting to see the progression from when it was first kind of announced in early June-ish area to now, to see the whole CDL play out, because from the whispers to now is crazy. So it's been pretty cool. But Ashley, we all know, is Midnight. What are your guys' gamer tags, Annie and Brett? What is a name that gamers would call you if you were in that Warzone charity tournament last weekend?
My name in Warzone is Danger Llama.
Danger Llama, okay.
That's so epic. I know that if I get taken out by Danger Llama, my night is ruined. Like, that's just like the ultimate. I love it.
That is awesome.
And I am Diamond Soda, similar to the Twitter handle. And then there's some numbers after it.
Oh, okay.
Consistent branding. I love that.
Hey, you got to have that for in esports. It's always important. But hey, Danger Llama, that
That's my new fave. I didn't know that your name was Danger Llama.
I didn't know either. I'm actually worried that you may have taken me out in one game or two, and I just rage quit. No.
Well, something we can talk about. Annie's refused to play with any coworkers so far. So now that everybody has her gamer tag, we'll see if she'll hop into Warzone with any of us.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
I want to get to 155 first. Like, I feel like I'm not adequate.
I'm a level 69, and I'm almost thinking of not playing any longer because I think
gotta stay
I
there.
haven't played enough, dude. I haven't played enough. What are you? You're probably like a 90.
I'm in the 80s.
Yeah,
This is the greatest moment of my life.
I may have played the least Modern Warfare at the office at this point. I'm a disgrace. I haven't been motivated to get on. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead 2 and just doing rocker stuff, so I haven't like gamed that much like on COD this year. It's kind of weird.
Well,
I think
this is a
oh,
good
go ahead.
transition actually, because
Is it
my
sweet?
first question was for you really was, you've kind of like alluded to it, but it was like, why, what was the biggest thing for you to transition out of just being a content creator into this role that it has more hands-on within a company of being a director of content? What was the big thing for you to be like, I don't want to be so like my own boss really anymore. I want to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
I certainly love being my own boss. It was a good time and it was a good run. I felt like I think for me, when I started doing all this stuff and I started like really excelling in the content side of YouTube and Call of Duty and then Twitch streaming and then everything that I did like with Optic, I felt like I've never been a type of person to like really chase super hard to be like massive and to be like a big deal when it comes to being like a YouTuber and stuff like that. Like it was cool and I enjoyed some of the perks that came along with it, but I felt like kind of done at a certain point. Like I'd plateaued in my desire. I had plateaued in I think maybe my interest. I feel like I mean you always have to evolve. Like I was, I spent my 20s my own boss, doing my own thing. I had a great time, but I just felt like I'd kind of like came to the end of what I wanted to do as far as that goes. And so I'd expressed interest in having more of like a back end role, even when I was at Optic down in Texas. So I already knew like I wanted to push myself further, to grow, to help other people. I feel like I can help facilitate a lot of other folks' goals and dreams, whether it's, building out their own content or in this case, like building the content of this brand and this franchise. So really it just I felt like I did what I wanted to with streaming and YouTube. I had a great time and I felt like it was time to evolve.
No, that's fair. Everybody always has to, especially like when you're younger and you're completing goals, you always have to have that next goal. So that you knew what you had done by yourself and had moved on from that to something bigger that you felt was maybe more challenging, or something that you felt was a better route for you to take starting at that moment. So that's pretty cool.
And I mean, listen, being a Twitch streamer, because that was like kind of primarily what I would do every day. Being a Twitch streamer is awesome. Like a lot of people strive to be that. It's great. You like sit, you talk crap, you get paid to do it's awesome. It's a lot of people's dream job. So I know I probably sound like a total dork saying like I did it, I'm done, but like I really felt like stagnant a little bit with doing it, and I felt like I was thinking like in 5 years do I want to be doing this exact same thing, and then I kept feeling in my heart like no, I don't think so.
Oh,
But I do, to say that though, to add on to that, I do love my stream, my community, everything I built over there. I miss them. I've been too busy to reconnect, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting now that I mean, not that I left my place that much before, but now that I am literally stuck here, I'm going to be streaming some more on my personal channel.
well, that's, yeah, and it's really cool to see that, because a lot of people you see when they're in streaming and stuff, they never do move on from that. They continue to try and evolve in that space. So it's cool to see that, like, your experience in that space now transitioning into something else, which is similar, but it's still quite a bit different than being your own boss, hanging out at home, trash talking kids. So and
Yeah.
and I guess from the other side of the table, Annie and Brett, you guys came from outside of the esports and gaming industry and kind of have entered this whole new realm that a lot of people are still learning about. What was that transition like? Just kind of opening your eyes to this whole world that is almost hidden from a portion of society.
I mean, I think it's amazing. Like, I feel like I was just talking with Ashley the other day about there was some streamer that had like 2.5 million followers and I'd never heard of him, and I was like, I'm so embarrassed, and she's like, no, that happens to me all the time. Like, this, it just keeps going. It's like when you go through somebody's house and for the first time and you discover that it just keeps going and going and going, it's like that. There's constantly a new room and a new thing to explore and learn, and I'm having a ball. I love it.
Yeah. And for people who don't know you and Annie, or haven't kept up as much with the podcast or things that you guys have done through the Rocker social medias, do you want to say a little bit about what you did beforehand, before you came to Rocker?
Sure. So I have kind of a marketing storytelling background. I started my career as a blogger back when it was cool. I'm just kidding. It was never cool. But back before there were many media outlets or anything online, like it was really the internet was ruled by blogs, and that was back when I was doing it. And it was an incredible experience. And when the economy crashed in 2008, kind of legitimized the blogging industry and sort of the online world, as a lot of the publications started coming online. And so I did that for a few years. I focused at first on style and beauty, and then I became a luxury travel blogger, and I got to travel all over the world for a couple years and just write stories about what I saw and what I thought about it. And it was an incredible experience. And then I decided to try something a little more traditional, and I got a job at Digitas in New York, a digital marketing agency. And I was one of the first social media staff at that agency, and it was a brand new thing to have a social media staff at all.
Yeah.
I was the first ever social media manager for Post Foods, so I ran all the Honey Bunches of Oats accounts. I started a few of those accounts, and
Dude, what? I could have tweeted Honey Bunches of Oats and been talking to you?
Absolutely.
I wish I would have tweeted them now.
It was fun. It was the Wild West back then. I mean, we weren't worried about image copyright. Like, there were just no rules. It was so different. But yeah, I worked on Delta Airlines, a number of other things. Wanted to move back to Minnesota. I'm from here originally, and I got a job leading the social team for Cadillac at another agency called Fallon. And I was there for a little bit, went to another agency here in town. I spent 7 years in agency land. And then moved over to the brand side. I worked at Aveda, which is based here. It's a shampoo company.
Okay.
And I worked there for 2 years. And then I dove into the wild and wily world of esports, thanks to Mr. Brett Diamond.
Sorry, we'll just pause there for a sec. Ashley, I don't know what happened to your camera, but it...
Quite a peek into our team vibe here.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Spencer. I'm sure I just created a little bit of editing for you.
No problem.
Spencer, this is every conference call, video call in work from homeland. Somebody's dropping off. I'm surprised you haven't heard my kids screaming in the background yet.
Hey, you know what? It's the challenges that you work through day to day to make Rocker continue being the best CDL team out there. So
we're still grinding away.
It'd be good for your prep for fatherhood if one or multiple of my kids pop down here right now and start screaming and jumping in front of the camera.
Yeah. I'm sure it's coming soon enough. August is coming faster than expected. So.
Dude, it's crazy. I just saw a 4th of July event get canceled, so I'm getting just like so nervous. Anyway, sorry. I'm hoping that summer, brings us all back full circle here, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Alrighty, well, we'll just start her back off.
All right, sorry about that again. Yeah, I couldn't tell if you guys couldn't see me anymore.
Yeah.
Everything went black. I've got to redo my setup here.
No worries. We let Annie finish talking, and then we can start up from her finishing her little spiel about what she did. So anyway, so you've had quite the experience back from traveling the world blogging to going to do all these different social media accounts, and now you're with esports. That's such a cool story to see. Like, you never know where you're going to end up through the transitions of different careers to lead to somewhere you never thought you'd be. So,
yeah, I always find it's interesting, people who work in kind of digital and social media, who are in my generation. None of us started out doing that because it didn't exist. So it's always interesting to find out where people came from. And I think esports is really the same way. You know, this wasn't here, so nobody's been doing this forever, and everybody's got a cool backstory.
yeah.
There's no handbook yet.
Ashley, please write a handbook by Friday.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So then to go over to Brett, you came from the Vikings and had sports background, but transitioning that to esports, how was that for you, and what that like for you?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure. To give you my background, so as you said, with the Vikings, I was with the Vikings for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I was with the NFL at the league level and worked in their events department for 11 years. While I was with the Vikings, I, amongst other projects, oversaw their esports initiative. So obviously for an NFL team, that's primarily the Madden franchise, which admittedly is relatively small time compared to Call of Duty League and what we're into now.
Right.
But for at the time, for everybody from myself overseeing the project up to the Wilfs and our ownership group, the Madden events that we did were a good toe dip in the water for esports. So we worked with ESL, was the production company, so we got a sense of how the production went, how it differed from a traditional sports event. Working with the gamers that were, the pro Madden gamers that took part in that, understanding how sponsorship worked for an esports production, and just overall started to get a little bit of a sense of the moving pieces that went into it. At the same time, personally, I was fascinated by the emergence of esports as an industry, and was just consuming any information I could get on it. My joke is, and it's not really a joke because it's true, that when OWL launched, I could have quoted you the entire structure of the league from reading multiple media reports about it, but I couldn't have told you anything about Overwatch the game, right? And so that just gives you a sense of how I looked at it, and I never at the time didn't think that it would lead to anything like this, but had a professional fascination with it. So over time, as the Wilf family and Wise Ventures, which is functionally our parent company, started looking into opportunities in the esports space, they would pick my brain from time to time. And I sort of became the most knowledgeable person within the Vikings and within the Wilf family of businesses on the topic. And it's really a situation where the old saying that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That's sort of apt here. I was certainly by no means an expert in the esports space,
right?
But knew more about it than most of the other people that certainly anybody at the Vikings. And so they would pick my brain from time to time. The Will family kicked the tires on a few different opportunities in the esports space over the course of the last few years. And really about a year ago, they started to get serious about investing in Call of Duty League. My conversations with the ownership group started in early May. So we're really coming up right up about a year ago. We were in a meeting on an unrelated topic, and one of the senior executives at the Vikings leaned over to me and said, "Hey, by the way, John Wilf's going to call you about esports." Okay,
yeah,
sounds good. I'll sure happy to take the call, right?
Yeah.
And so John, who is the president and the representative of the ownership family for our team. He called me that day. We talked for a few minutes, had a really good conversation. At that point, I knew from other conversations that they were in the final stages of investing or pursuing a slot with Activision. They were still in sort of the bidding phase on the slot.
Right.
But had a great conversation with John that day. Had a conversation the next day with John and with Brian Cargo from Wise Ventures, who works closely with all of us. And over the course of the next few days after that, started to solidify my involvement in it. This was at the same time that they were at the final stages of the bid process with Activision. Shortly after that, we started, really that was early May, a 2-month run up to our announcement of the franchise slot on July 1st. And then after that, it's really been a full sprint ever since then. And it's funny, you referenced some of that Call of Duty North branding that we had right at the start for, just for a reason that I won't bore you with. I was looking back through some files and happened upon some of that branding and some things that we worked on during June of last year as we were in the final stages of preparing the announcement that Minnesota would be a Call of Duty League team. And it was just like flashbacks, I could almost like taste, smell, feel like being in that mode of just, it was so exciting. And it's been so exciting, every step of the way, building this thing up from scratch, hiring amazing people, starting with Ashley and Annie. We now have a staff of 15, not including players and coaches, but it really started with the 3 people that you're talking to here. And it's amazing to think about how far we've come as a group and as an organization, where our joke is that it's like dog years, right? Every day is really a week. Every week is really 7 weeks, etc. But that's sort of how the last 11 months have felt, and obviously the last month has been a unique time, to say the least, for everybody on this planet. Every human being is obviously impacted in some way by the current situation. But I can honestly say that, up until that point, the 10 months from the time I had that first conversation with the Wilfs until now have been the most fun that I've had in my entire career. Just working with this incredible group to build up this team, and seeing people like Ashley and Annie and everybody else we've hired in action, bringing everything we do to life has just been amazing.
Yeah, and like I said when we were just waiting for Ashley, is that by far you guys have done, in my opinion, the best job of building your building ROKKR to have this storyline and this persona that people want to be fans of you. And I think even with the Huntsman and Hex and all them, and that's where I started in esports with Nadja and them. In my opinion, ROKKR has trumped them since the whole CDL thing for content, for making people care about your brand and the people in it, from the people that we see behind the scenes in the Discords or whatever. It's really nice to see it kind of all come together in this fashion, from the point where it was just you 3 to the people you've added on. That has, in my opinion, you guys couldn't have picked better people to continue the same vision you guys had from the beginning. So it's been really cool to see that. And then I guess that's perfect for the next part, is from going from the basement of the Vikings to WeWork to now the ROKKR headquarters. How was those transitions? Because as you guys have gotten more people and gone from, we can't be in this one place inside the Vikings area anymore, we have to get our own little space till our actual space is done. How has that transition been all the way up to now?
Yeah, it's pretty funny to think about it. I imagine each of us would have a unique point of view on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone just walked into the home office here. So we would all certainly have a unique point of view on that. And just as context for anybody listening, what that timeline looked like. So from, like I said, my transition into this, and I should say, as we talk about the Vikings' role in this, our organization is a separate organization from the Vikings. Obviously, the Will family owns both teams. But when I took on this role, I resigned from the Vikings like you would resign from any job. submitted a letter, said I'm leaving the Vikings. And that day I was hired by Wise Ventures Esports.
Right.
Now, before we had office space, as you alluded to, I was still working out of my old Vikings office. And we did that until mid-September, or it might have been October, actually, I think, by the time we actually moved into WeWork.
Yes.
But, it was totally fine when it was obviously just me going to work in my old office every day. And then, then we brought Ashley on board, and Ashley was coming in a couple days a week. And then it started to heat up during Rostermania. And then we brought Annie on board.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the three of us in this little tiny office.
It was pretty little, thinking back.
Yeah.
We're all sitting at Brett's desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was very funny things like when we'd go to film a podcast in a conference room, it's like, yeah, it's cool if we go and use that conference room, but it's a little, people are sort of looking a little weird, like Ashley's walking around with a camera, and
I definitely thought that they thought I was weird for sure. Yeah, like I had my visitor's badge and like a look of shame because I knew I didn't quite fit, and I had this camera. And I'm just like, please, like I just must have projected this aura of like, please ignore me, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Then I'd be walking around her behind her going, This is an esports celebrity. Be nice to her. We're trying to hire her. Be cool.
Be chill. Be chill.
And then so from there to the WeWork, where you guys I think had a few more staff at that point.
Yep.
What was it like from that? Like, okay, now we've expanded, because right at that point you guys were like all sharing the social medias, all trying to do everything, and now you can sort of let a little bit loose, but you're still not exactly comfortable in your own space yet.
Dude, it's crazy. I can cover a bit of the WeWork section here. Like, it went from, me, Annie, and Brett going in there day one. And it was a decently sized room. And I'm thinking, okay, it's a little lonely in here, but cool. We're at the WeWork now. It had a really cool view. And it was kind of nuts because, being like effectively like the second person hired, Annie's the third, Brett's the first, like we're this like core group of this, right? And we're individually bringing on these, now up to 15 people, literally watching the seats in that room get filled, understanding these people, understanding their role and what they're there to do was a really unique experience that I think is pretty rare in the workforce. And I mean, it's kind of a startup vibe, but at the same time, like we're staffed up now. We've all got our things, and yeah, the WeWork was crazy because it was, when I think back to those times, I just think of the visual representation of all those chairs getting filled. And by the time we were ready to move out of there, it was a full house in that WeWork room, man. It was full.
I remember, at one point we were like, we actually have to stop hiring right now. We don't have any more desks.
We don't know where to put people.
Yeah, so then when you finally could move into the new space, I don't know if you guys done a full walkthrough of that? I don't think you guys
we're finishing touches still a little bit, making sure it's just right.
Yeah, so we've seen snippets of it and it looks amazing, looks like a really awesome place to work. When you finally kind of like started filling out those sections, how did that feel? How did it feel to be like, this is our space?
It was just crazy. I mean, talk a little bit about like I think the three of us did, and probably Brett and Annie, you guys more than me, but I remember doing like 3 or 4 tours at very different points in the construction, and it was like every time I went there, it was even more, and I was just astounded that they were building this so fast and so, amazingly, and according to the renders I'd seen, it was like watching something come to life and be born. So that was really cool. And then just, the first time stepping foot when the carpet's down and the walls are painted, it was awesome.
So now that you guys have all the players and the coaching staff in Minnesota, when they started training out of the ROKKR headquarters, how was that? Did you guys see like a difference, not only in like, oh, we have the players here now, but like even in like their performance? Was it like, did you see a difference from them like at home to then all of a sudden everybody being there?
I think so. I think, having Justin from Las Vegas, we had, Alex was over in the UK practicing. We had, Asim up in Canada. Jerome was from Maryland. Like, Assault was one of the first people to move here. He's from Chicago, so he's not too far away with his family. But yeah, watching all those guys come here and start to get better practice because they were all centralized helped a lot. And we've talked a lot about with our players and our coaches, coming in every day, seeing each other face to face. Obviously, right now, they're working remotely as we all are, but in practice, when before this moment, they were coming in every day, face to face, going through stuff, seeing their messages of motivation on the whiteboard was awesome. Seeing, the vibe and of the guys and just getting that face time to not only make content with them every day, but to, understand that when they come in, like they're there to work. And they've said it before, like on our podcast and stuff, that, that environment has been a part of their grind and their subsequent success.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. It's been really incredible to watch some of the things that we talked about when we were building the roster back in September and October come to life, right? And I think anybody that follows our content in any form, obviously we just talked about my background. I was new to the Call of Duty scene. The only thing I knew about these players was what Ashley had told me, right? And we spent a lot of time talking about, about these players, about the other players that we were talking to in free agency. Ashley did a great job, laying everything out. But one of the things that she talked a lot about back in the early days, and then once we signed the first three players, Celia Sultan got our ex, and then we brought on board Brian Saint as the coach and Jake Trobob as our analyst. Those guys came on board after the first three were signed. But one of the things that was consistent every step along the way, from when Ashley was first laying out the targets and the approach for free agency, and then when we brought the coaches on, consistently talking about how this was a group of guys who would grind, who would put in the work.
Oh yeah.
Would rally around these resources that as an organization we were investing in and we were putting together.
Yeah.
And clearly, as we finalized the roster with Alex and Asim, and talk all day about all five of these guys, plus our subs. But it's one of the things that's just been so incredible for me to see come to fruition is those things that Ashley talked about, that Brian and Jake talked about months ago, has really come to pass. And obviously now we're in a unique situation where everybody is playing from home, so we don't actually have them come into the facility every day the way we had talked about. But I don't think there's any question in any of our minds that that this group of players and the dedication that they have and how much they work, that all feeds, it all just feeds the beast, right? That's the right group of guys to spend time together, to dedicate themselves, the right coaches to coach them on a daily basis. And that's how you see a team go from what was considered to be, most of the preseason power rankings had us in the 8th or 9th slot. And, and now heading into, this new world of online matches, but coming out of LA, we're a consensus top 4 team. And that's it's just such a credit to the dedication of the players, the coaches, and that foresight, that started with Ashley putting together a list on that that old notebook that we were looking at in the Vikings facility. So just amazing to watch all that come together over the course of the last several months.
Yeah, no, for sure. And with those players and everybody, I know another thing that you guys, when I applied for the position, and everybody, even you guys, have talked about, is it's all been about content. And I think you guys have been providing a lot of content, more than a lot of the other teams. My question is, during this whole phase right now where everybody's at home, how do you guys have already started working on it, and we've seen it if you follow the ROKKR Discord or the ROKKR Twitters, Facebook, whatever, you've seen the content start to come out. But how do you guys plan to keep that up during this harder time right now with everybody spread out?
Annie, do you want to take like half of this and I can bounce whatever the other half is? I feel like we're definitely aligned with what our plan is.
Yeah, I mean, what a good question, right? Our whole business model had to change. We had to completely recalibrate all of our plans, and that includes content. With the exception really of the away games. So as we've been planning kind of our weekend for the Dallas home series this weekend, like, yes, we're doing a watch party. It's going to be a virtual watch party. We're not going to be able to do it in person with the fans.
Yeah.
But all the regular content that we make, we're basically doing almost the same thing. You're going to see score graphics, you're going to see trackers on hardpoint and things like that. So a lot of what people have come to expect from us, we can still produce to, the same or better quality at this point. So that's been a good thing. But in addition to that, we've been adding some things to our docket just to kind of find ways to keep in better touch with the fans during this time. And
Absolutely.
ultimately, I mean, I think of entertainment of all kinds as being a public service, right? And right now, people need entertainment. They need things to take their mind off of what's been going on in the world. And so we want to be a resource for that. And we want to provide fun things for people to do. So we're looking at a steady stream of fan tournaments. And then we also did just have our first Rocker Royale, which was a special event we arranged with celebrities, musicians, our players and streamers. Ashley played.
Yeah.
And we were able to raise about $50,000, over $50,000 for COVID-related causes. So, we hope to make that a series and do more of those. And we're just, we're working out how all these workflows happen with everyone working from their houses, which is really, really unusual.
Super interesting. We're figuring it out though, and I think a good point that Brett and I and Annie too, like, we like to drive this home is we could easily just use this as a time of like, we don't have to upload that much because the season's just, it's too different. I don't know. We're not going to be able to do what we want to do. But instead, we've just shifted our focus of, well, okay, Warzone came out at an amazing time. Let's do some of that content. Let's do the Rocker Royale tournament. Let's see how that goes. Let's do another one. Like, let's keep this moving. Seeing the unofficial, official Discord tournaments have been really cool and inspiring for us. So I think we want to actually like turn that into a regular thing and make it, involved and keep in touch with people, because to Annie's point, this is a time where people regularly need something to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to chopping it up in the Discord this weekend while all the matches are going on for our team, and, just being enthusiastic about it and really just kind of like tuning out and into Call of Duty, tuning out of everything else and just hanging out with the homies as I would. So yeah, we're excited that, our industry is in a unique place where these matches are still going to happen, like the NBA games and the NHL games, those can't happen. But luckily, it's unfortunate that it's online, but hey, they're still happening. They're still going to play. We're still going to be able to create a lot of the content that you're familiar with around game days. And we've gotten a little unique with like some webcam interviews and some webcam content that we're going to be doing that you guys will see in the future. But for the most part, like this, we're not seeing this as a barrier or a reason to stop or slow down. We're seeing it as a let's really do it. Let's keep going, keep our foot on the pedal and keep going, keep our momentum.
Yeah, and you guys have been killing it. I will say the TikTok with the 4 employees from the gentleman from Rocker was perfect.
Shout out to King TikTok. That's Trevor. You see Trevor on our TikTok a lot. Dylan was in there, Charlie was in there, and Brett Z was in there. Not Brett Diamond, but Brett Z. So that was awesome. I think 2 of our female employees did a similar dance, and I believe they may still be waiting on me to add.
Okay.
Any volunteers tribute to be the 4th, so we could do a lady version of the same dance.
Oh yeah, you got to duet it,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome to see, and that you guys have stuck into your core values, but transitioned with how things have worked around you to keep that content going for the people, the fans, the people who can't wait to see that stuff. And when things like this happen, where hiatuses happen, or you're not sure what's coming, it's always nice for something to look forward to. And you guys have been continuing that on for your fans and the CDL. And
Yeah, and Spencer, that's something we've talked a lot about internally as well, where like our philosophy, and you alluded to it earlier in the discussion, our philosophy from day one has really been to build this fan base one fan at a time. I mean, when we announced that this team existed, nobody expected Minnesota to have a team. It wasn't, it hadn't been in the rumor mill. Nobody knew this was coming. And so from day one, we've taken this attitude that, there is no, it's about responding to every fan on Twitter, every DM, every interaction. Like Ashley said, like people being in the Discord, interacting, like, and that's stuff that we genuinely enjoy. On top of it, like we have fun with it. But that's been our philosophy from day one. And that doesn't change in this situation. And one of the things we said to the whole staff before everybody, the last day we had everybody in the office, we said, look, goes without saying, family comes first, your health and your safety comes first, right? Like that's the most important thing, and that's what everybody affiliated with this organization understands. But we've gotten to this point by doing the most we could with whatever we had at our disposal, right? When it was, just me with no real social media skills and just responding on Twitter with mostly gifs and emojis. And then Ashley came on board and be like, Ashley, is this cool to say? Does this make me sound stupid? And for the most part, I did okay. And then it was okay. We leveled up a little bit, and Ashley and I were doing some videos in poorly lit rooms, and we leveled up a little bit more when we got Annie on board. And now we have a whole content team, right?
Yeah.
But the philosophy every step of the way has been, play the hand we're dealt, make the best possible content, and make the best of every situation. And then it comes back to what Annie said about, this. We do view it as, we have an opportunity to create some positivity, whether it's raising money for charity, which is something that we felt, was such a motivator even for the staff to be a part of something where we could honestly say at the end of the day on Saturday that we've done some real good in terms of raising money for charity, and creating some positivity. And, if a fan engages with our content and walks away, their day is a little bit better because they, had a good laugh, or they enjoyed the match on Saturday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. Like that's a huge win for us. I think everybody should be asking themselves in a situation like this, like, what can I do to have a little bit of positivity, whether it's, with people I would normally see day to day, or something broader like this. And, I just feel fortunate that we do something where we can, where we have these opportunities to, to reach people and have some positivity in a tough situation.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear. And like I said, you guys are killing it, and it's been so fun. Watch it grow. With the CDL's transition to online, other than the content side, what are the biggest hurdles that you guys have to cross, other than content for this whole CDL thing online? Is there been something that's been like, well, that you can talk about, of course, that has been like the hardest part about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go first with that. I'll say I've learned more over the last 3 weeks about the technical aspects of what goes into this than I ever knew. And it's far harder to when we were having some of these discussions, and I'll say that the planning at both the league and the team level around these scenarios really started the last week in February. So it's, so there were, I think our league has done a great job of planning and keeping the teams informed and talking with players. I think everybody involved recognizes that the online events won't be exactly the same. They're not going to be the same for the fans. Obviously, they're not going to be the same for the players. Everything will be different. But as Ashley said, we have this this incredible opportunity as a sport to continue competing and to continue providing fans with entertainment when when all of the traditional sports don't have that opportunity to do it. Um, there's a lot that goes into it. We're upgrading internet at each of our players' homes. We want to give them the best possible situation that they can have there. Um, every part of it is different, and I think every team probably, but certainly, I'll speak for us.
Yeah.
We're trying to think through how do we create the best possible environment, whether it's for the players to compete in, the staff to work in, the content team to create content in. Everybody's going through a situation. Regardless of how long this situation lasts, and obviously everybody hopes it resolves sooner rather than later, but I think we all recognize this is now the new normal, right? But even if everything reset back to the way it was today, this is already the most disruptive situation to day-to-day life in America in any of our lifetimes or our parents' lifetimes. It's and I think all of us look at it as I think everybody feels fortunate for what they have in the situation. There's a lot of people that are in a lot worse situations than any of us, for sure. And again, just comes back to let's make the best of it and do what we can to create content to get the team ready to play.
Oh no, and yeah, that's nice to hear, like the upgrading of internet and stuff, because that was a lot of people's like concerns about people in different areas having more of an advantage, stuff like that. So it's interesting to hear that like those things are going on, where upgrading of internet is happening, and the things that you'd think need to happen, but they are actually happening. I guess other than once this is all done, once everything is kind of, I don't know, set to like not go for the solving all these problems, what's ROKKR'S next move? What do you guys have in the future that you can talk about, of course, that is like your goals, I guess?
I think we're in a unique spot with our team. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. Like, our roster, doesn't have the most followers. When the roster came out, they were saying, "Oh, that's like a top 8 team, top 6 maybe," in all the power rankings and the opinion forums about it. So to see that our players have surpassed that expectation, but also still have this, I mean, when I talk to the guys, when I talk to the coaches, they have this insane drive to just win and be the best and grind this thing out. I think we're in a decently good spot. I mean, yeah, moving to online's tough, but we were just in the grand finals at the last LAN event. Like, we feel like we have some decent momentum there that we could carry into the rest of the season, and then hopefully, champs whenever that is. So I think for us, winning is paramount. And then when I look at it, I mean, obviously I'm going to have a super content minded answer, but
Oh yeah, of course.
When I look at it, I just look at making sure that, because maybe people don't know about our players very much before they were having this on tournament success. I almost said online, but it's been at the tournaments they've had this success. Let's use this spotlight to make cool content with our guys, whether it's cool Warzone stuff, promoting their streams, having them answer funny questions in videos, like getting people connected with them with the content. I think is so important to our brand and building our fan base. So my goals are win, videos. It's going to be a good time. That's I mean, I know that's not like new, and it's probably like a really vanilla answer, but that's like where my brain is all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's cool to see, and I'd like to get your opinion on it, because as you guys said, you were like one of the main people who were writing down the list of names. And I know, like, for me too, when you were like ROKKR'S, he's hugely underrated. Like, everybody was underrating this whole team. Still underrated, 100%. 100%. How good did it feel when you were like, this team, like, in your own head, you're like, this team is a top 4 team, 100%, like, they can win, they have the drive, and then to see it actually play out the way that you wanted to? How did that go for you personally, when you were like, holy shit, like this is what I thought, and it's actually working out the exact way we were hoping, well, the best of it could possibly be.
It's a lot less of a pat myself on the back and a lot more of a, I'm just super proud of these guys. Like, yeah, it's cool to feel, I guess, vindicated in some way that, okay, I knew this could happen and to see it happening is awesome. And yeah, that's great. But I really am proud of these guys because, from the moment that we met, like in person, seeing their vibe, how they vibe with each other, how cool they are to us, the staff, and how just in touch, we all feel with them, like knowing that they're overcoming these obstacles, making names for themselves. Like barely anybody knew Alex existed, within the last couple of years, and now he's like everybody knows Alex. Everybody knows ROKKR'S now too. Like they're making names for themselves and they're helping push this team to great heights. I mean, Asim too, like he is so undervalued on the team, I think, when people look at the stats, because he does so much of the dirty work. And then you have Assault and Silly, world champions,
Yeah.
Assault champs MVP, like they bring that, that steadiness that you need to a team to say, hey, like we know what to do, we know how to handle certain situations, and they really help the team out in a lot of those ways. And I also think like I think the coaches do get some props from the casters, but our coaching staff is unreal. I take no kind of claim to the team's performance other than, I knew ROKKR'S was going to be a beast because he's a beast. But like all of the work strategically that Jake, the assistant coach and lead analyst, and Brian Saint, the head coach, all the work that they do day in and day out is absolutely incredible and helps push our guys to be the best. So to answer your question, I'm just proud of them, from the coaching staff to the players, for showing up and doing what we all knew that they could do. And even more, like we're still not done. Like, yeah, we made a grand final and it was amazing, but we could even push past that. We went from, top 3, top 2, like what's next, right? Like seeing that be so close, it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I thank you guys so much for being on my podcast and answering all these questions. I'm sure there's people that are part of ROKKR fan base and people outside of the CDL who still want to get to know what esports is, what ROKKR is, and I think you guys have displayed amazingly what your goals are through your own podcasts and continuing that on. So thank you from myself for being on the podcast, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next. I'm dedicated to liking ROKKR. They're my favorite team because of you guys and the content you guys have put out, and I just can't wait to see what you guys do next. So thank you so much.
Spencer. I mean, it's all the things you say about us are so kind, and just know that we appreciate it. It means the world to us that sounds like something working. So
yeah, no, for sure. No, I always I'm always in the Discord. I'm always checking out what you guys are doing, and just between everybody I've met who you guys have hired and talking with you all personally now or through email or whenever, you're all passionate about ROKKR. You all share that passion through the content and through your dedication to the team, and it shows, and that's what people care about. As a fan and somebody who wants to work in esports one day, those are the qualities I strive to find in myself to show to people, and you guys are just people I hold on, not pedestals, but as like, if I want to be there, this is the type of thing you need to do. So thank you guys for being on the podcast. Keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see ROKKR take out Huntsman round 1 on Friday, right?
That's the plan. We hope so.
Oh yeah.
6 p.m. Minnesota time.
Yeah.
Yep. Minnesota time. Come hang out with us in the Discord. We'll be hanging. I'm sure you'll be there, Spencer. I mean, you're, like I said, you're always in the Discord, and just like from our point of view, like it's amazing seeing all of the interaction that you do with our team online, whether it's tweeting or a YouTube comment or what you're saying in the Discord. Your passion is what really drives us to want to keep pushing this whole thing forward. Keep me in line with like content, like wanting to make sure that you guys have awesome content to watch and something to be excited about, and just seeing that excitement and obviously hearing it firsthand, it's super awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, you know, when there are events, hopefully either later this year, next year, whenever we were able to have one, I hope you come down and we'll hook you up.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for you guys to release the newborn baby collection.
Yeah. You're gonna need to get some rocker onesies going, because
100% matching for me and my son, right?
your announcement video that you're expecting was amazing. You know, we saw the headset, the rocker gear, so we'll have to figure something out with a onesie.
That was that broke my internet. I was not expecting for it to blow up that much. I had the plan for a while that I wanted to do a longer sketch, but I decided to go with like a shorter one just because of
Short
time.
and sweet.
Short and sweet, yeah, and yeah, I couldn't believe the rock, like you guys alone were your support, and yeah, it was amazing to see. And then
we're building a really cool supportive community. I mean, I even saw people in the Discord being like, "Congrats, dude!" Like that's so awesome. Like that's the cornerstone of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, the positivity and stuff in the community you guys have grown is amazing. I'm sure. Me talking in the Discord and bothering Dylan or Thunder Hips in Discord, I'm sure he gets annoyed at me sometimes because I'm always poking his DMs, being like, "Oh, you should do this," and yeah, so tried to keep that to him. Yeah, shout out Thunder Hips. He's a funny dude. So, anyways, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you being on, guys. Please follow them. Their Twitters are all on the screen. You can follow them there. Follow Rocker on every social media. I think it's ROKKR MN on Instagram though. And yeah, stay tuned this weekend for the online Call of Duty League return. And yeah, thank you guys again.
Definitely watch the matches, and we'll see you in the Discord. Thanks for having me, Spencer.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Spencer, keep an eye out down south for us, right?
Oh, okay.